Interest rates are all over the place, but people are talking about the fact that we're going to go down in 2023. So that's not so scary after all. Today, we're starting a little bit early, 30 minutes early, because it's my mother's birthday and we're having a birthday dinner over there. So she wanted me to be over there early. And if mom says something, that's what you do. You go do that. Little PSA. Okay. So in my comment section, every time I release a video, there seems to be people that are taking my profile image. And I'm sure many of you already have seen this on other channels as well. They take the creator's profile picture. They have some name that is like a phone number to another application for you to speak to supposedly me. That is not me. I will never, ever have that. You just always see my name. If you need to get my attention in the comment section, YouTube has YouTube handles now. And so all you have to do is use the @ symbol and my name, and then it will get my attention. But you don't have to don't listen to any of those people that are trying to get you to text them on a different number or some kind of a second application. I won't even say the name, because as soon as you say the name, it's like Beetlejuice and it like summons them in. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. So with that, my friends, we are going to be talking about the interest rates in 2023. An article just came out at the beginning of this past week, and I want to share it with you because I found it pretty interesting, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I like to hear what you have to say. And we have a very special guest, one of our favorite guests that come on every single week. And I know it's one of Eddie's favorites and one of my favorites and one of y'all's favorites, and that is Sir Ashley. We're in the face of royalty, real estate royalty right here. Sir Ashley has been knighted on Kristina Smallhorn's channel once again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone.
Hello. So I did forwarded you this email as soon as it came over to me. Matter of fact, a subscriber sent me this article and wanted to get my thoughts on it. I said, we're talking about this on Sunday. That's it. It's happening. Nice. Matter of fact, if you guys ever find an article that you really want me to talk about on the live stream, you can just throw it over to me, just email it to me. And maybe I'll even put it in a video or a live stream. Somebody else sent me a video not too long ago, and I'm going to be adding that to a video in the future as well. So yep. Tell mom happy birthday. I don't know if you guys know this too. Next Saturday is my birthday.
I didn't know that. Okay. Yes. I'm making a note right now.
Yeah, it's my birthday next Saturday. I'm very excited. Very excited. So let's put up the article while Sir Ashley's writing down my birthday so he can wish me happy birthday on my birthday. Eddie, go ahead and put that up for us. And everybody, if anybody could please give Eddie some well wishes. He had a little accident. I don't know if you guys know what a mandolin is. He was sitting there with a mandolin and he was cranking that sucker, man. He is cranking it, right? Boom, 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 and then cut off the whole tip of his finger right here. Yeah. I'm not showing you pictures.
She's not lying. I saw pictures of it and I thought it was a Halloween like gaffe, but no, it's real.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. So I had to dress that up. Poor Eddie. Anyways, so CNN comes up with this article. It says mortgage rates expected to fall to 5.4% by late 2023. Banking group projects. All right, let's move forward. MBA economists also said that they expect the U.S. to enter into a recession as far as the first part of the next year that will be driven by tighter financial conditions, reduced business investment, and slower growth globally. That will in turn push the unemployment rate up from its current 3.5% to 5.5%. That's what Jerome Powell wanted. He's getting what he wished for by the end of next year, according to the forecast. Next year will be particularly challenging for the U.S. global economies. Chief economist and senior vice president for research in industry technology. The sharp increase in interest rates this year consequence. Sorry, I have to go around my little camera. For the Federal Reserve efforts to slow inflation. Yes, we all know will lead to equally sharp slowdown in the economy, matching the downturn. This is happening right now in the housing market. Everybody knows But you know what the bad thing, and we're going to talk about this, Sir Ashley, and I'm going to get your opinion about this, is that people are not even putting their houses up for sale. Like
No,
the reductions aren't working the way I don't think people were anticipating.
no.
The upshot for home buyers is that mortgage rates are expected to come down next year. Is the forecasting mortgage rates for the end of 2023 is going to be around 5.4%. I don't know how they came up with this. The average rate for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is currently 6.4% according to Freddie Mac. Ultimately, the Fed's ongoing efforts to tame inflation will slow home buyer demand for mortgages in 2023, according to the forecast, of course, and sellers aren't going to sell it. According to mortgage origination volume is expected to decline to 2.5 trillion in 2023 from the 2.26 trillion expected from 2022. The forecast calls for purchase mortgages to drop to 3% next year, while refinance volume is anticipated to a 24%. Of course, you know why? Because interest rates are down.
Yep.
The slowdown in activity and higher mortgage rates will cut the pace of home growth, according to the forecast projects the national home price to be roughly flat in 2023 and 2024. What did I tell you? It's going to be the great stagnation. Home prices will remain flat. People won't buy. Sellers are not going to put their houses on the market unless they have to. And then they will, and once the mortgage rates come down to 5%, if they can buy. But good Lord, I don't know. Like, according to Mr. Powell, though, like, I don't know. I don't know
No,
if he's gonna
he
make it.
said Powell said pain is going to come, and I was saying it, and you were correct that I believe home prices for the next 2-3 years will just be flat. Be
It
right
depends on the
around.
area, though.
Yes, or nationally they'll be flat, but it depends
Right.
on the area. Yeah, definitely hyper local. Depending on where you're at, you got to look at supply, demand, what's going on in your local economy, and if you had just a lot of iBuyers in your community as well, in your city, I think that would be a determining factor.
I don't think it's just iBuyers. I think a
Mhm.
lot of it has to do with, the amount of new home construction, right?
Yeah.
So, like, places like, Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Austin, Texas, where they've had, like, a boom in, new construction, I think they're gonna see, like, pretty record numbers going down, but that's not gonna be reflective of the rest of the United States, but I guarantee you those are gonna be the headlines that hit the waves, right? So, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I've already seen that home prices are down 30%. How come I can't get this kinda deal where,
Mhm.
where I'm trying to buy a house?" Well, it's not reflective to the rest of the United States. So,
Well,
that's gonna be a problem.
what we're also going to have to see, and regarding those areas with large amount of construction, is seeing how builders slow down as far as their rate of construction. Here in the Charlotte area, construction is booming or has been booming, but recently they've slowed construction to a halt and started. Well, they've been reducing prices, but they're not going to be releasing as many homes. They're not going to be building at the same pace they had been for the past 2 years. So I think that's going to slow down somewhat, a bit of the inventory as well.
One of the like, for the past, like, 6 months, because 'cause I'm in those groups on Clubhouse,
Yeah.
and all the home builders, because I sit in the audience and just listen, I don't say a word, and I just listen to them, and they were pulling back then, they were like,
Yep.
"The material costs are too much, the risk is too high right now," and the majority of them were saying that they were gonna go into multifamily units, not townhomes necessarily, but, like,
Hmm.
apartment buildings, condos, those kinds of things. So, if you have an area that has a lot of that going on and you have high rental prices, that could be a really big plus for you as a renter.
And what we've also seen here in this area is there was actually a whole townhouse community of about 180 homes. They were going to sell them to individuals. An investor came in and bought them all. So
Yeah.
as opposed to selling one by one, they sold the whole portfolio to an investor, and they're going to rent it out. So
Happy birthday, Mary Faye. Happy birthday. I saw that come up on the screen. I saw
happy
that.
birthday!
November 5th, man. That's the best day to be born. Just saying. Yeah, but that is one of the they have all these communities in Phoenix, Arizona that have popped
Yeah.
up, which are build to rent, and that's what's gonna be
Mhm.
happening with,
Yeah.
a lot of the home builders that have homes that are in that, easily rentable category,
Yep.
those 3 to 4 bedroom homes, but when you get into those mansions, big mansion type things, they're gonna be sitting on that stuff, and if
That
you're in that price point, you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get yourself a heck of a deal. Because I mean, there's
Yes.
plenty of the really big over the top houses. We just don't have enough affordable homes. That's the biggest problem.
That is the problem. You're gonna see a over inventory of, at least in my market, the median price is about 400,000.
Mhm.
Um, 650 and above, those houses are sitting on the market longer because not many people can afford them. And you're gonna continue seeing that for at least the next, I say, 6 to 9 months.
I, I've been working on a video and I've been stewing about this right now is,
Mhm.
what's going on with the Airbnb market.
Uh,
And, it came to my attention that, like, as people can't vacation because of inflation, they're not gonna have that same, kinda income, we're gonna be
mhm,
seeing a lot more properties that hit the market. And then, the area of San Francisco has a record number of, vacancies. Matter of fact, they have
mhm.
more vacancies of homes than they have homeless people. Like, they say there's like X I'm just gonna make up a number because I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
remember the amount. Well, let's just say there's 600,000 homes that are vacant, and there are 100,000, homeless people, you know? And a lot
Yeah.
of them, they said, are vacation homes, but a lot of them are, rentals, and they're asking way too much for rental prices. So I think a lot of those types of homes that people are waiting to, like, for their gold mine to cash in, that's
Mhm.
gonna, be the thing that is gonna bring rental prices down. And it may allow for some more affordable houses to hit the market, which I'm not upset about.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. And Linda is 100% correct regarding Blackstone. I
Mhm.
read recently they have billions of dollars just waiting.
51 billion.
Yeah,
51 billion. I quoted that in my last
yeah.
video, if anybody hasn't catched
Just
that.
if you haven't watched that, go ahead and watch that
Watch
last
that,
video.
there's a little plug on there. Go ahead and take a look-see at that after this is
Yeah,
over with. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
51 billion from Blackstone. But,
And
the other thing about Blackstone is
mhm,
that they, when they bought into Invitation Homes, they said this was in 2016. They said, "Oh, we're buying into the 80,000 homes," right? If you look on their websites today, they still say they only have 80,000 homes.
hmm,
But they say, um, they'll say like 80,000, over 80,000. That's how they get away with it, over
yeah, yeah,
80,000.
yeah.
So it could be 250,000, but I mean, it isn't a misquote.
It's
So it makes
yeah,
it
yeah,
seem like the supply of homes that they own is really small,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
will own way more. As well as I know, they own way more than
There
80,000
was
houses through the United States.
yeah, no, most definitely. There was a study here in the Charlotte area, what, 2 years ago, and they
Mhm.
owned. Granted, it was 2 years ago, so it's not current, but they had over 7,000 homes in the Charlotte area. So
Unbelievable.
yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable. So Tony has some thoughts. What went to get pre-approved for a modular home loan and was told it is too early to apply for loans next year because due to the market banks will be going out of business.
Ooh,
That doesn't even make any sense.
no,
That literally makes no sense. Whoever told you that, I go find another lender.
most
That
definitely.
makes no sense. Maybe if now you're getting it from the modular home company themselves, maybe the lender that they use within their company is having some issues, and that's why they said what they said. But I strongly suggest looking for other lenders in your area. Get quotes from several, not just the ones that are on the
Hmm.
modular home company, through the modular home company. Go to your local credit union, go to a mortgage broker in your area, get at least minimum 3 quotes. And it
Yep.
shouldn't affect your credit score that much. And they know what you're doing when you're applying for a loan, and that they realize that when they're pulling up your credit scores, so it's reflective. They're not going to like penalize you, especially when you're buying a home that you've pulled your credit for it to be looked at for purchasing a house. It's weighted differently is what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, just do some research of some lenders in your area, because that doesn't seem right at all.
No, I agree with you. It doesn't seem right. And I had the same question Diamond Rush Media had. Where is this at, and who are you speaking to? Because that doesn't seem correct, accurate.
Yeah, that sometimes though, like you always get somebody on the phone sometimes that you're like, this must be your first week. You
Yeah, yeah,
overheard something and you're
yeah,
not quite adding, you skipped some dots and you
exactly.
just went
Yeah.
straight across without going all the way around,
You're jumping. You're jumping over here, and then you missed the key point in
Yeah,
whatever that conversation
yeah.
was. Yeah, yeah, most
I've had
definitely.
that happen. I'm sure you have too. You're like, wait, no, hold on. Let
Yeah.
me talk to somebody else. Something's
Mhm.
not, the math ain't mathin'. Forgive
But
me.
where do you think? Do you see interest rates coming down next year? I looked at your poll. We have
Uh,
134 votes, I believe, right now.
I do not like, my crystal ball for the
Mhm.
at least the first half is
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to be over 8 for quite some time. I would be pleasantly surprised if it hit like in the fives by the end of next year. But I mean, I think that's anticipating how bad the market's going to get, right?
Yeah.
So if their expectations is the market is going to go really, really, really garbage as far as like the jobs market, people losing their jobs, foreclosures are up and everything. Yeah, then that's when they'll drop those rates. But
Yeah.
they're just hoping, because every time they've done an increase on interest rates, the market hasn't behaved the way the Fed has wanted it to. So
Not at
they
all.
keep dialing it, dialing it, and dialing it. But we're not the only country that's facing this. I want people to
Mhm.
realize that. A lot of people like to do a lot of finger pointing. It's because of this. It's because of this.
Yeah.
Every single country in the entire globe, every
Yeah.
single one of them is going through the same exact thing. So, um, we're all trying to do our thing. The Europe
Now,
isn't. No one's got it right yet. Nobody. Not one country has it correct just yet.
I
But
will say, while we don't have it correct, while it may seem very painful where we're at right now, we're
mhm.
doing much better than other countries. For the sheer fact, we have 30-year fixed debt. If you look at Canada and other countries, like their go-to finance is an arm, it's adjustable. So we have 30-year fixed debt that other countries do not have. So we're in a much better position. And that's why it's not having quite the impact that the Fed wants it to have every time they raise interest rates. Because if you're
Yeah,
locked
because if
in for
you're
30
locked in,
years,
yeah.
yeah.
If you're locked in at 2.4%,
Mhm.
like, well, you're not selling your house. You're like,
Ever.
"Oh, no, sucker." And you know what? Well, this is the other thing
Yeah.
that could possibly happen. So say you lose your
Mhm.
job, right? And you live in a 4-bedroom house. You're like, "Hold on a minute. I don't wanna lose my house. This payment is so cheap. I could just rent it." And they may just rent it out just to save the house. Like, this is not the
And
same, because rentals in apartments are so high that, they could rent that house out pretty darn quickly, you know?
And worst
Yeah.
case scenario, I mean, nobody wants roommates now as an adult and everything. Actually, I know
Mhm.
a couple clients that actually have roommates. But at a 2.4% or 3% mortgage, and you have a four-bedroom, you only need like one roommate to cover that difference if you're having a tough time scrounging up the mortgage payment. Like, I mean,
Right.
your mortgage payment is going to be very, very conducive to make things work. So it's going to be an asset. That 4% or sub 4% mortgage is an asset.
Yep.
Sub 6% right now, but yeah, 4%, sub four is definitely an asset.
I had to up my volume. I couldn't. When I have that stupid air conditioning on, I was having a hard
Ah,
time hearing you. Sorry. Moses says, I really hope that resale sellers learn their lessons of 2020 and 2021 and boycott companies like Blackstone, Redfin, and Zillow and Open Door.
I don't see that happening.
Um,
I
I will
wish it
say this.
happened.
I will say this.
Yeah,
Zillow has no more homes on their
that is
books.
true. Yeah,
That they cleared the count. Do you remember when the housing crash bros were like, this is it. This is what's going to cause home prices to tank because of Zillow's selling all their inventory. It's going to flood the market and we're going to see home prices drop.
I just wish like we had a checklist, a bingo scorecard of every time they said something would happen, and then the time has come and passed, and yet prices are still high nationally. They've just been wrong across the board. Now, eventually, again, if you say it enough for long enough, you're gonna be right eventually.
One day you're going to be right.
Exactly.
And then you're going to be like, I told you so. I told you so.
One video sticks out in my head where they were like, man, home prices will crash 30% by the end of summer. And no, they didn't, not at all. Interest rates went up crazy. And based on their math, price is supposed to fall 10% every time interest rates go up 1%. And here we are, we went up, 5% from the low?
Mm-hmm.
And prices haven't dropped down 50%.
I'm trying to look at the the poll right now to see what it's at. I can't see it on my end. Thank you so much, Shirley, for the super sticker. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We
got 40% say no. They do not think mortgage rates will be at 5%. 29%, 30% say yes. 26% say they will be higher.
They'll be higher.
Yes.
They I think the first half of the year, I think they're going to be higher.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I think we're going to see that, like, it could be creeping close to that double digits, and then it's going to really make people freak out.
I recently read an article as well saying that while Americans are dipping into their savings, we still have $1.7 trillion worth of savings. So while it's not 2.3 that it was last year, it's still a crazy amount. And that's why the Fed's actions haven't caused the pain that they hope it has caused, because Americans as a whole has $1.7 trillion worth of savings.
And a lot of people that bought their houses are just sitting on so much equity.
Yes,
so even if their house went down, let's just say 10%, it means nothing, because they still gained, 40%. So they're like, whatever.
Yeah. They're like, oh, okay.
Whatever.
And then like, well, okay, it went down 10%, but do you see my mortgage payment? I can't even rent for something. Like, I can't even rent something at that price right now. So what would I look like selling? I'm not going to sell.
All right, we got a question. It says, I have a client that just listed an RV park with all motorhomes on it, except for 2 mobile homes. 2 mobile homes are owned by individuals. How could the agent sell this property? If the land underneath the property is owned by the mobile home park, they most certainly can sell it. They have their homes on rented land, so they're paying a monthly fee to the park itself. So the landlord is not maintaining the properties as far as each individual house. They're maintaining the lot and the grounds on it, making sure the roads are done and the lights are on, and, like the street lights, that kind of thing. So yeah, absolutely. That's how they can sell it. They don't own the land. They are renting it. Yep. That honestly is probably the most disgusting thing that has happened in the last 2 years, because there's these, what they call themselves the mobile home millionaires, and they go out and they buy manufactured home parks on all these different places, knowing that the owners are older, and like, look, we're going to give you this big lump of some money right here. We could just sign on the dotted line, no questions asked, and we're done. And a lot of people say the money is just too hard for them to say no to.
Yep.
Then the residents are left sitting there with this new company that starts, and the first thing they do is, we're going to do a $50 increase to your rent. And they say it's just this increase for right now while we make some minor repairs throughout the park. So as soon as the residents start seeing, like, maybe the roads got paved or some light bulbs were fixed or whatever, then they're like, look, the improvements cost way too much money, so we're going to have to increase it another $250 a month. Now, a lot of these people are on fixed incomes and sit on Social Security. Of course, a lot of the residents that live there are, up in age, they're
Yes.
retired, so Social Security is what they live on, and that's it. And I got a message, from I was reading through the comments, they said that, like, people in her park, it was a really good park, and now they're, like, making decisions, like, should they what kind of food that they can buy, and should they take their medicine, and they're willing to, like, cut their medicine in half so they can afford to live. Then you add the layer of, inflation with food costs and everything else. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. This is
That is scary.
it is very scary, and
Yeah.
especially at this time. So we're gonna see if this continues the way it is and the Fed continues to make us hurt the way they're gonna make us hurt, you're gonna see a lot more elderly homeless people. And then there's talk that they're wanting to take away Social Security altogether, which whatever. That's a whole different story. It has nothing to do with housing, but good lord.
Yeah.
Good
No, we talked a little bit off camera.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
heard a, politician making the argument for that, and I was like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
But phase out 5 years, I was like, "Okay, whatever." In Richmond, Virginia, I went to an open house today. The agent had, a feedback form. Part of the form was asking if the property was priced fairly. First I've seen this. That was something that real estate agents did
It used to
before
be.
the pandemic. They
Yeah,
we
yeah.
always I always had them. It was like a little card, postcard. And that's the reason we do that is to let the sellers know that this is real-time feedback that we're getting from people that walk through your house and they think that your home is overpriced. Because a lot of times they don't want to listen to us as real estate
No.
agents, even though the numbers are sitting right in front of them.
Yeah. Sellers think that their house is special, so forget about the averages and numbers. Mine is is going to beat the averages. So we use that feedback from open houses, and actually it's written down as opposed to us telling the seller what somebody said. No, they can read it at their leisure and be more competitive and come back to reality.
It's one of those things is they have anonymity too, is when
Yeah,
they fill out those cards. So they'll fill them out, and sometimes they are brutal. It's like, "Oh my god."
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I would never have those type of curtains in my house. They look like pig vomit, and you're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yes.
whoa." That has
Um,
nothing to do with the house, but okay.
I had a buyer leave a comment through Showing Time. It's the electronic app to where you can leave feedback and everything. And they tore into my client's property. Now we know it needs work. We priced it what 40,000 below because we knew it needed work. But they went in. Like it was I had to forward it to my client and I felt bad reading it, but this was the truth. I mean, everything she said was true. It just sometimes the truth hurts.
I
So
had a seller call me up
yeah.
and yell at me because I told her that her house smelled like cat pee because it smelled like cat pee.
Cappy, yeah.
Yeah, and then she
The
was
truth
really
hurts sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, she was really
Yeah.
upset. She was like, I don't understand where you think that how that you think that is professional." And I'm like, "Do you have cats?" And she's like, yes, I've had cats and I have litter boxes." And I'm like, "Your cats have been spraying. It's obvious. You can smell it. It actually
Yeah.
burns your nose when you walk through the house." I don't know how else to express that in a more professional way. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
whatever. Ah, Simon Smith with a $10 super chat. Thank you. Agree with the agent
Thank
to
you,
price
Simon.
at the middle of the comp, but 2 showings in 15 days dropped to 8% and now 2 showings in 2 days. Um, yeah, but like this is the time of year too that you just don't get as many buyers. This is like right before the holiday season. This is when most real estate agents are like, "Oh, they're working on their new business plan for next year," because there isn't that much
Yeah.
going on.
Yep.
You have a
Yep.
few listings that's sitting out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're still busy, but it's not like summertime busy where the phone calls are
Mm.
going crazy. You don't have as much of a pool of bank of buyers. There isn't that many buyers right now, anyways, because who wants to pay those interest rates? So a lot of those buyers that were sitting on waiting for the prices to go down, well, the prices kind of came down a little bit. They were like, "Well, forget that because of the interest rates." I don't know. I would look to see what the days on the market are right now, the average for that specific area,
Mhm.
and see if that's normal. If you're a real estate agent, I would call other real estate agents and ask them in that price range, how many on average of showings are you getting in a week? so that way you have a understanding if this is what the new normal is for your area at this time of year.
Yeah. And a lot of real estate agents, a lot of areas has like blank city realtor network, real estate
Mhm.
network. So you can join that and just get feedback, real-time feedback from your colleagues in that demographic in that area.
Mhm. Yep. Correct. Oh, thank you, Shirley.
Yes.
Happy birthday to your mom. My mom's name is Sandy. Sandy. Yeah. Every Sandy. There's gotta be a song with the name Sandy, and I'm gonna have to figure that out. Was thinking Sherry, but that's another song. Catherine, do you
Yes.
think people will go to markets that were less desirable due to crime, economy, etc., just to get an affordable house and fix it up? Do you think that is a possibility?
Um, no. Only reason why I don't say not that specific example. I do think they'll go outside the city center. They'll travel further out to find something that's more affordable. That's what I'm seeing. People willing to, people wanted to be in Charlotte or in the inner city. Now they're willing to travel in 45 minutes to an hour out to get something more affordable, as opposed to getting something and having to fix it up. I don't see that. Most people don't want that headache and don't really know how to deal with that headache. And if they have a fixed budget, once you start tearing into walls and everything or fixing things up, you don't know what it's going to cost and how your bill is just going to keep going up and up and up. So they're more secure and confident moving out further from the city center to buy something. What are your thoughts?
There's always a group of people that will look at an area that is in disrepair and see an opportunity.
Mhm.
Always. And so there's an area around here called Spanish Town that for quite some time wasn't necessarily like the area, but now it's
Yeah.
the area. Like everybody wants to move there. If you think about it like this, everybody knows Harlem, right? And everybody knows that Harlem had a terrible reputation for many, many years. And it only took a few people coming in, the fixing it up, and then all of a sudden, it's now you want to live there. Everybody wants to live
Yeah.
in Harlem. It's beautiful there, you know?
So
There's always a group of people that are willing to look at an area that's disparaged, especially if it's near the city. They turn it back around and make it something desirable again.
So let me caveat that. You will see I've seen investors do that and buy and fix it up and then make it feel more appealing and more desirable.
Mhm.
But the first time home buyers that are typically on a fixed budget, I don't see them going into the area, fixing up the house just to get something more affordable. I see those first time home buyers going further out.
Okay.
That's what I've been seeing.
Dolly Parton made a song called Sandy's Song. I'm gonna have to listen to that. I didn't know that song. I'm sorry. I was unaware of that song. Thank you, Edward. Yeah, I don't know, like, the house flipper it was house flippers here. So,
Yeah, yeah.
they decided to, like the ones here were a little bit different. So, they would go in,
Hmm.
they would buy the house, live there for 5 years, and during over those 5 years, they
Yeah,
had the
yeah.
intent to sell it in 5 years.
Mhm.
So they were always making these improvements that they could afford to make, and then they move on to the next house, and they keep doing that. There is uh, a
There's a
group
loophole in the tax system
Mhm,
to what you said is very common, is
mhm,
where you live in a home, you buy it, you live in it 2 out of 5 years,
uh-huh,
you can sell it, make your profit, and not have to pay capital gains tax on it because
right.
you lived in it for 2 years, and then you go do it to the next house in the same neighborhood, live in it 2 years, fix it up, resell it, not have to. And that is a quick way to not quick because obviously it took 4 years, but in the whole scheme of things, quick way to increase your net worth and just and money.
And that's how Spanish Town became a booming metropolis all
Yeah,
over
yeah.
again.
Yep.
And even to this day, you can still see some of the houses, and you're like and
What
then
is it?
somebody will come in to get
Yeah.
it, and then, like, you're like, "Oh, well, last year at Mardi Gras, that house was a dump." I mean, wow.
My
Wow.
question for for in Spanish Town.
Uh-huh.
Are they keeping the architectural
Yes.
integrity? They
Yes.
are? Okay. That is something that they have not been doing in the areas here in North Carolina, which
Mhm.
I am definitely I'm upset about. But I understand it's their money. They're trying to make the most return. I get it, but it looks so weird where you see these ranch style homes, all brick, next to these mini mansions that's been converted into mini mansions to where you don't have that cohesive neighborhood feel.
Right, you still have a few of those, like the end
Hmm.
caps of the streets or something, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Well,"
Hmm.
but then as soon as you turn the corner, you'll see, like, the houses with the porches in the front, like, very New Orleans old
Yeah.
New
Yeah.
Orleans
Yeah.
style,
I like it.
and
I
that's what
like it.
makes it so charming and it makes it
Yes.
more appealing. They're like, "Oh, this is the nostalgia," people love it, The
Yeah.
only thing
Yeah.
that makes sometimes a house is so beyond where you can fix it because we have something called formosum termites. I don't know if you know what
Hmm.
those are, but these
No.
formosum termites literally are like they're a house killer. They will eat through cement. They are super
Wow.
aggressive, and you could have a termites inspection done on a Monday, and then a year later, I mean, a month later, go back to the exact house at the same time, and it has eaten the whole garage up.
Ooh.
They're
Yeah.
terrible.
We have termites. Nothing that severe here.
They're
So
nasty.
wow,
I
that's
missed that
awful.
last. I missed that last comment, Edward. What has inventory of poor quality? Okay. It says question. I work from home and can live anywhere in the United States. I want to sell my house in northern Arizona and move. There's no urgency, but would rather move sooner than later. Should I hold off or list now? I say the most you're gonna get for your house is right now.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I would say. The
Yeah.
most you're gonna get for your house
I
is right
agree. The most you're gonna get is right now. Um, Yeah. So, but when you talk about buying and moving somewhere else, I say wherever your next move is, consider it a temporary move until you find out, exactly where you want to be.
now.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people that are like, and I don't know if you're like this, but
Yeah. Let me
if I
see.
just, like, decide I'm gonna move, I
Mhm.
literally just sell everything and move. I don't even think about it, like, I'm like, "How much
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
taxes are? How much I gonna make there? Alright, can we do it? Let's do it." And we pack up and everything and go. Like,
Yeah.
I've had family members are like, "You can't do that, you're making a huge mistake." And then they're like, "Well, maybe it wasn't as bad of a mistake as I thought."
And then what ends up happening, they come, they come move not too far from you after you've been there.
My parents live right down the road.
I
They
was
moved
gonna say they
they they moved they had they had
yeah, yeah, yeah.
their dream home, their
Hmm.
retirement dream home, beautiful. It was like everybody I looked at it, it looked like Barbie's dream house to me.
Wow.
Beautiful pool on the golf course, the whole 9
Yeah.
yards. They sold that sucker and they live down the road.
I was gonna say that's how it typically works. They're like, no, 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 you can't do it. And then, 2, 3 years later, they're right. They're your neighbors. So yeah.
Yeah, John Travolta, remember John Travolta saying, "Oh, Sandy from Greece." Grease, You ever see that? Grease is the
Ah,
one.
yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Uh, uh. I was gonna dress up for Halloween. Let's talk about scary, home prices, scary interest rates. I was gonna dress up for Halloween.
I was waiting for the text telling us that we are gonna dress up for this live stream.
I was thinking that I was gonna dress up as Jerome Powell. I was thinking I should be Jerome
No, that might scare quite a few people actually.
We're just
That might
I was
scare quite
and
a
I
few
was just
people.
gonna constantly say, "We're gonna tamper everything down. We're gonna tamper down the jobs market. Too many people have jobs."
Too many people have jobs. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, he wants unemployment to go up because again, with the savings, he wants people to tap into them because
And none of this hurts big business. Honestly,
no,
they're making record numbers. None of this hurts big business. That all it does is hurt the little guy, all of it. It's
and
just gross. So
it's
gross.
very gross. It's very gross. And even the spread that mortgage companies are making right now are at all-time highs. It's like a 3 point spread to where, they're normally at a 1.25, three
Mm.
percent spread to where, yes, rates are at 7 right now. But it's just really hurting the people that need the most help.
So Catherine said, I asked a question because my hubby, and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. In our
Mhm.
area, many of us are buying historical homes and repairing them. There are rumors that the area is going to boom. Um, this is how I decided an area that I was going to move to because I knew it was booming, right? When I moved there, I started to see what was the projection of industries that were coming
Yes.
to this specific area,
Yeah.
like in the next 10 years. Like how many companies have already bought land or are under contract, had been in the newspaper that they're definitely going to be putting roots in that specific area. And that's how I decided where I if that area was truly gonna boom. I made the right decision. Yeah, this
That's
area.
a wise calculation, and just to piggyback on that, while doing that research, make sure you have a diversification of industries moving to the area,
Right.
right? Just when you do that, make sure there's just a lot of different industries moving because you don't want to be in any area that's solely dependent on one industry because something could happen, right? What San Francisco tech and all that, you see it, anything can
We're
happen.
oil and gas.
Yeah.
Oil and gas. If it's just oil and gas
Yep.
town, you're that the, economic recession in oil and gas towns really get hit hard. Like,
Yep.
honest to God, it's terrible. The if that's the only industry they have there, I mean, they see ups and they see downs. You see, like, when you see a bunch of new trucks on the driving down the highway, everybody's getting their new houses and the
Yeah.
Walmarts are filled up, the times are good, and then all of a sudden it's dead. You buy a used truck for, like, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Things
Oil.
start going on sale, get discounts a year later. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, not related to housing, but, do you think the, car industry is gonna come back with, the used car business? Because I think they over tap that as well.
Yeah. No, they definitely overtapped it. One of my neighbors is actually a car salesman, and he's telling me the pain in which they're suffering and have been suffering, and they're just forced that he doesn't know when it's going to end. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. It doesn't look good.
Well, if let me just put it this way,
Mhm.
people need a job to get to work, right? And they need a car, they
Yeah.
need a car to get to work. So, if they bought a car and they can't afford to buy that car, we're gonna have an excess of
Yeah.
cars, used cars that are been repoed.
Yeah.
So, it's just something to look out for. Shelly has a question. It says,
Yes, I like this question.
okay, isn't it this what Bank of America
Very
is
much,
doing
yeah,
with their new grant a new program to get people in more undesirable areas?
yeah. Let me go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so sorry. It is similar. Yes, they're trying to get people into, I wouldn't say quite undesirable areas. And I can't speak for, it's also offered in 5 cities right now. I can't speak for Detroit. I have not looked at the homes in Detroit, but I looked at the homes in the other 4 areas. Um, and it is not quite undesirable areas, but areas that have a population census tract of 50% or more minority population.
Mhm.
And I looked in Charlotte and in, I believe, Dallas. A lot of those areas are very desirable. Like I would actually, not even I would. I lived in one of the areas just last year that you can buy homes that they're offering to be that's eligible for this program. So it's quite misleading, but it is what it does is it's allowing people that the underserved that did not have a down payment or whatnot to be able to buy a home, but they have so many hoops they require everybody to jump through that it makes it, you have to be like every I has to be dotted, T crossed to even smell the type of money that they're trying to give out. So it's very challenging to get qualified, but it is, I like it.
It's kinda like it makes for a good headline, like, "Look what we've
Exactly.
done.
Yeah.
Look what we've done. We're really helping the community."
Yeah.
Oh, well, they didn't make the requirements, so it's not our fault, like, that's so true of, like, so many things,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we have this fantastic center that we're really helping the homeless people," and then they're like, "Well, we really can't help those because they don't have a legitimate ID." They're
ID.
homeless.
Exactly.
They're homeless,
Exactly.
lady,
Yep.
like.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what's happening, where they
Yeah.
put so many stipulations and hoops to jump through that you're like, it's good in theory. It sounds good. It made, I mean, they led the headlines for almost, a month there, right, with that program. And the thing is, it's not even a real new program. It's a caveat of a program they've been having for the past 7 years. But yeah, they accomplished what they wanted as far as getting good headlines.
Someone's yanking my chain because they know I hate this expression. They said, "Date the rate and marry the house."
Yeah, yeah.
Oh. Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm not a mortgage person, but this
Yeah.
was one of those things I was thinking about because, the arm has come like back in full circle.
Yeah, I've been
And
talking a lot about that. Yeah.
okay, so let's just say you decided to buy a house in Austin, Texas, right? And you
Mhm.
do this 5-year arm thing, right? And you're like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. What if your house 5 years from now is, let's just say it's below what you purchased it for? What happens then? Do they have to come out of pocket, or do they restructure the loan, or is it like what happens? I really do not know.
Yeah. Ideally, you work out a game plan before you get to the end of the term, the end of the 5 years. But let's
Right.
say you did not, right? Let's say you did not, and you're stuck with an underwater home. Yeah, you would have to. You don't necessarily have to sell, right? You don't have to sell it. You just have to go up to that higher rate and make that mortgage payment. But if you cannot make that mortgage payment, and if you try to sell, you're gonna have to
Come
do
out
a
of
short
pocket.
sale. Yeah,
Yeah,
come out
but
of pocket or do a short sale.
right, but the bank isn't gonna just forgive, let's just say $20,000. They're gonna want that 20,000. Do they roll that 20,000 even though the house isn't worth that 20,000 back into the loan? Or do they restructure it? Because like a lot of times in
Yeah.
the last housing collapse, the towards the end of it, banks were getting smart saying these foreclosures and short sales are the pits. Why don't we try to work with these people and restructure it?
Yeah.
Right. So even during the pandemic, they were like, we're not doing this. We're going to
Mhm.
restructure it. So a lot of people that I know that were kind of like lost their job and were able to work for 6 months were able to restructure
Yeah,
their
yeah.
house altogether with their bank. Is that how they're going to do it this time?
I believe that's how they're gonna do it. I think this is what I mean, crystal ball, right? But I believe they saw how quote unquote successful it was, and they're gonna try to restructure it. They're gonna try to restructure it to keep everybody in a
Hey,
home and paying, because I read an article this past week where there's less than 1% of people in foreclosure that had loan modification or loan forbearance from the pandemic. So all
mhm.
those people, you know, that was another one. Like it was going to cause a for
I would love
housing
it.
crash. Yeah, but
I
it was
would
going to cause a housing crash. But only 1% is still in foreclosure
when it's
because they worked with everybody and made it to where they can pay something and keep them in the home.
I was at a closing and we were literally hours away from closing and they went to do the thing, like where they pull it, and he had filed for forbearance, and now he
Ah,
was upside down on his house,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a real problem. This is gonna happen to more people because
hmm,
he lost his job. He was trying to
yeah.
sell his house, then he filed for forbearance, and then he was upside down." I'm like, "This is gonna be the cause of the housing crash." I made a video about it. I have
Yeah.
since re I have done many videos trying to rectify that, but to this day, I still get comments that are like, "This didn't age well," and I'm like, "Yes, I've addressed it several times." But I leave it there because, we're human, and
We're
this is
human.
yeah,
And
and this
and
is
that's
what
one
I
thing I respect, that you leave it up. Like if I'm wrong, like people, hell, my prediction for 2022, I did at the end of 2021 as far as what would happen. I am no, I did not foresee interest rates being where they are right now. I don't think anybody in their right mind did. So I was wrong, and
I
I
got
get
scoffed
messages.
at.
I
I
get
said
messages.
5%. I said
Yeah,
5%, and people are
yeah,
like, "No, no, 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 no." Scoffed
yeah,
at.
yeah. So no, I respect that you leave it up. There's some people that have their hot takes and get tons of views and all that. Then they take it down because you can't fact check them, or
Yeah,
not even fact check them, but like, hey, didn't you say all this? 6 months ago. You can't find those videos anymore.
yeah. Well, I guess that the thing to do is if you see something like that, you should just record it, screen record it, and then save
Yeah.
it in a folder. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have enough time on my hands to
That's the thing. Like I don't. I mean, there's enough negativity in the world as opposed to
dig back
like I
to
don't need to continue watching fear porn regarding the housing market.
it. I love that fear porn. That is a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm a real estate photographer. Why when a seller passes away and leaves the home to the kids, why do they always decide to sell instead of keeping it as an investment property? I'm gonna tell you why, because if let's just say it's 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
John April and Peter. April says, "Yeah, John, you can have the house, Peter, you can have the house. Go ahead, take it. Take the house, but I want my half." And he's like, "Well, I don't have the money for your half." And she's like, "Well, if you're not gonna give me the money for my half, then, yeah, we're putting this thing up for sale."
Yep.
And then, then like that's what happens. They don't have one person doesn't have the money to do it all in there. And they're not willing to like start a LLC together because they probably don't get along.
Hmm.
I have some siblings that I wouldn't necessarily go into business with. Let's just put it that way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's probably where that comes from. Now, if it's just one kid, I think sometimes like holding on to memories like that, it's kind of like you just want to like it's done. You're just ready to move on. You don't want to look at that property anymore. It's just too hard and you're just ready to move on. So yeah. But it's usually when it comes to family, everybody wants their money. They want their dough. And if you can't buy them out, then they're like, forget it. You ain't getting the house.
Exactly. No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Both instances, people want their money. People start arguing over the money, and then if it is just one child, um, more times than not, what I'm seeing is they've moved out of the area, and they have no intention to come back to fix up the home or even rent it or do anything like that. So their option is like, hey, let's just sell it.
One of the craziest closings I went to was on a $27,000 house. So you can only imagine in your brain what a $27,000 house looks like in Baton
Yeah,
Rouge.
yeah, yeah.
Just use your imagination. And at the closing, that like it was always like a hassle. I'm like, why is this such a hassle? We get to the
Mhm.
closing, and there are 14 family members standing there waiting for their check for this $27,000 house.
Wow.
I was like, "This is unbelievable." I mean,
Yeah.
and, like, you just saw, like, all walks of life. Around that table, you had ones that were super, super successful, you could see some that had some hard times, you saw some other ones that didn't even care, they were just signing on the dotted line, and it was
Hmm.
wild, but here in Louisiana, inheritance law is really crazy, so if you do not have a
Louisiana
will.
laws in general are like y'all a whole different country over there.
Yeah,
Y'all
we
laws are unlike anything else in the country.
Napoleonic law, that's where it
Yeah,
comes from,
yeah,
yeah, and when you don't have a will, everything goes to, your relatives, the children. It
yeah.
doesn't go to your spouse, it goes to your children,
Wow.
not to your spouse. Brian has a
So
question.
with that said, before we go to the question,
Uh-huh,
is not to be a Debbie Downer. If you have not gotten your estate in order, please
mhm.
do so. Please, whether it be talking to your viewers and everybody, a will, a trust, something, because you never know what, if anything, the 2020s have taught us. You don't know what's going to happen, right? So at least be prepared, plan accordingly, and have those tough conversations now, as opposed to you don't want people fighting over the house or various things. Um, have those tough conversations now and plan your estate. So that was
Uh,
all.
I'm gonna put it on the live record, I wanna be cremated and put it in an urn, just so everybody know that.
So I'm with you. I am with you. I would like to be cremated. Ashes poured over the Genesee River, Rochester,
Call
New
it a
York.
day.
Thank you. Call it a day.
Call it a day.
And, and,
I
and
told
just
my
throw a
kids
party.
it's a big joke. I told my kids, I'm like, "I want you to decorate my urn for holidays," So, like, decorate me for Halloween, decorate for me for Christmas, Thanksgiving, I want the whole 9 yards.
They'll be like, "What's that over there?" Oh, that's just mom.
It's just your grandma.
That's just mom. She's festive this year. So
She
yeah,
partied it up.
yeah, yeah.
That's me. Byron says, "When you say, restructure a mortgage, does that really mean reapplying for a new mortgage with different terms?" Yeah, you have to reapply. But it isn't like the process of going through the same kind of mortgage as you would as if you were like buying a brand new home because
Mhm.
they have your information. They know who you are. They know your record of payment towards them. And so they're going to it's a lot easier to work for your existing bank to restructure that loan.
Yeah, they will work with you, and they will work with you. Um, you know this, Christina. Like if you go in foreclosure or different things like that, like banks will work with you. It takes a very long time if you decide to go this route, um, for them to foreclose on you before they'll kick you out. Like it'll take. 2-3 years if you drag it out. So
Do you know what the number one state is for foreclosures?
is it Texas?
Nope.
What is it?
New Jersey. Shocked me.
Oh, it is shocking. New
Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Wonder why. Property taxes? What's going on there?
You're
I was
asking the wrong
saying,
person.
yeah, I was gonna
That
say
is a
Texas because of the property taxes in Texas get crazy.
No, that's a Jackie Baker question. If anybody wants to know the answer to that, you have to ask Jackie. Jackie Bacon.
Yeah.
For more dire situation, borrowers could turn to debt restructuring. At most basic level, restructuring refers to the alternating on already existing contract versus refinancing, which starts a new contract. An example of a typical restructuring would be lengthening the due date for the principal payment on the debt contract, or modifying the frequencies of interest payments.
Yeah.
Thank you, Edward. God,
Thank you. Thank you.
he's
And
the best producer, man. Even when he's got a
I
finger
was
down.
gonna say he's pushing through right now.
Yeah.
Everybody say keep our producer in your prayers, please,
Yeah.
Mr. Eddie. He's
Just
pushing
sending some good
through.
vibes.
Yeah, he's pushing through right now. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Y'all, I don't know. I haven't got my Halloween candy yet. I have to go get. I have yet to have gotten it. I hope it's not completely sold out because I need Halloween candy to give to kids. Question: what do you think about moving renting in Colorado Springs? Uh, I
I don't know. I don't have any real thoughts about it, being honest with you.
I mean, I
I'm
love
not familiar.
Colorado.
Yeah, yeah.
If you can afford it, you got the money for it, you got a good job working there, this is your dream, go do it, Um, I love Colorado. I love everything about Colorado, honestly. Every time I go there, I'm like, "This is amazing." Amazing, but, I don't know what your financial situation is. I don't know why you're moving. What's your motivation? So I can't really give you an
Yeah.
opinion on it, to be honest with you. That's something you're gonna do. You know what? If you're trying to debate this out, this is how I would debate it. So I would make yourself a pros and cons list, right?
Mhm.
So I would take where you currently live and what you're doing right now. Put down your rent, put down like traffic, how long it takes you to get to work, how much groceries are, your taxes, all of that. And I'd break that down on one side. Then I would do the same thing for Colorado Springs, and then put your pros and cons as far as uh, even the places to go visit
I was
is
gonna say like social life and all that stuff.
social
Yeah,
life. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's what I would do. That's how you could really figure it out. So that's my
Real
advice.
quick, I want to. Debbie asked me a question. What part of Rochester? I grew up in the city in Rochester.
New York?
However, in Rochester, New York. She said she grew up in Brighton. I did. I was part of the urban suburban program. I went to French Road in Brighton for elementary school. So yeah, small world.
Would you
Small world.
move back to Rochester?
No, I mean, but for the snow, yes. But because it does snow and snow a lot, no, I would not do it.
That was an area that Eddie and I are still seriously considering, is Rochester, New York.
Really,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
All my family lives there. I have a brother there right now. Well, most of my intermediate family lives in North Carolina, still North and South Carolina. But I have a brother in Rochester. Then all my aunts and uncles and cousins still live there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I just I can't do 5-6 months of snow. Not anymore.
Yeah, I have like
Yeah.
7 months of excruciating brutal heat here.
That is true. That is true.
And
Yeah.
it literally sucks my soul away. My dad always says you don't have to shovel heat though, but I'm like, I don't know. I really love the cold. I
So
love being cold.
I know a place in the country where there's only like 2.5 months of brutal heat.
Mhm.
Come on to the Carolinas. Come on to Charlotte.
My brother used
You're,
to live in
you're
Travelers
sort of insulated from natural disasters. You don't really worry about hurricanes or anything like that. We get the remnants of it, but we're enough inland to where it's just an ideal place to be.
I would have to be like West North Carolina, or West South
Yeah.
Carolina.
No, I'm with you.
You just get rain.
Yes. No, Asheville is absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely, I've been there.
Absolutely beautiful. I love Asheville. Yeah.
DB Douglas has a question. Recently heard of transfer on death deed. Any knowledge of these? Oh, Eddie, look at him. I had no idea.
He's on it.
Transfer of death deed is a regular deed used to transfer real estate with crucial difference. Instead of taking effect immediately, a transfer of death deed doesn't take effect until your death. In some states, this deed is called a beneficiary deed because it's the names the beneficiary of the property when you die. A few states use this term unique to the state, such as deed upon death. In Nevada, transfer on death designation of affidavit David in Ohio, but regardless of the terminology, the document is essential for the same function. So, yeah, we don't call it a transfer of death. We don't have that. I can't, for some reason, I cannot get those words all out at the same time. Transfer of death deed. It's still like my tongue is like all thick. Do you have that transfer death deed? Is that that's not
no, it's not a thing in here in the Carolinas. It's not, at least not that nothing I learned about in law school or that I've come across in everyday life.
Yeah,
No,
that's right. You're a lawyer.
Yeah. I know a little bit about the law. Know a little bit.
You're a lawyer.
But I if you want to transfer something on death, I say put the property into a trust and try to insulate the beneficiaries from various taxes and everything like that. Now that is not financial advice. Talk to a estate planner, your CPA, and all that. But I would definitely look into that.
There is a guy on YouTube who I need to call him because I need to do my will. I haven't done it.
I can put you a couple. I can give you a couple people's information. Actually, no, we want somebody in Louisiana to do
I know a guy. He's really good.
Okay, I was gonna say
and
there's no.
He's on
anybody in
YouTube.
Louisiana.
All you have to do is type in the words. I know this is going to sound really crazy. Look up the words "naked ownership," and you're going to see a video from me and 1,000 from this one attorney. He's amazing. So, question: it says, Kristina, how did you end up in Louisiana? I literally went like this. Threw a dart and I went, oh, that's where we're going. No. I just didn't like Orlando. I saw the writing on the wall. This was right before the last housing crash. So in my specific area, every time I walked out the door, home prices in my little neighborhood were going up $10,000 every single week. Wow. And I'm like, these houses, like I had bought mine for $135,000 and it was a piece of garbage, right? Of course, we fixed it all up. I mean, we made it look really nice. But then when the neighbor comes across and they're like, did you know your house is now worth $210,000? Like, I would not pay $210,000 for this freaking house. That blew my mind. And then I saw the neighbor across the street. They sold their house for $230,000. And I'm like, their house has wallpaper. Like, what are you talking about? That carpet was ruined. Like, It was trashed. So I was like, this is not going to last forever. And I don't want to live here forever. I don't want to be stuck in this house to the day I die. We need to get out of here. And so I said to Eddie, I was like, go find a job somewhere else. He's like, where do you want to go? I'm like, I don't care. Where can your company send you? Where is there some job openings? So there were some in Phoenix, Arizona. There were some all over the place. And then when he went to Louisiana, I was like, I came and visited, went to New Orleans. I was like, But then I did my research and I saw that there was this little area that actually has really good public schools and it was growing and it had the potential for more growth. So I was like, oh, this is where I'm going to move. And that's where I moved.
Nice.
I felt like I won the lottery too, because when I moved here and you bought a house for like $210,000, it was a brand new house and it had 700 square feet more than my previous house. So I lived in this little 1,500 square foot box, cement blocks, and then I get into this house and it had 13-foot ceilings and wood flooring and crown molding. I was like, I felt like I won the lottery.
Yeah.
Deal Surf Safari. Question. Have saved up to $70,000. Congratulations. What type of loans can I get as purely an investor without a house hacking? And how would I be looking at and how much would I look at as far as interest rates?
So
what your credit score is, so I can't tell
yeah,
you as far as interest rates, but you can.
without without knowing your exact credit score, we can't give you obviously an example in your credit profile. But on average, I say if great owner occupants, with great credit and all that, if they're in the sevens, add an additional point to that for an investor. So if rates are at 7 for an outstanding owner occupant, for an investor, just calculate it at 8 and be conservative. I would actually probably calculate it at 8.5 or 9. And if the numbers work at 8.5 and 9, then you'd be pleasantly surprised if you get an 8% interest rate. I would do that. With 70,000, this may be we can talk afterwards. You can reach out to me. I would consider reaching out to some people for some owner finance deals. Get creative with it, and see if you can take advantage of. You mentioned interest rates. See if you can assume their mortgage or buy subject to, and take advantage of their 2, 3, or 4% interest rate, as opposed to getting a new loan out and getting 8, 9% interest rate.
So, Sir Ashley, how can they get a hold of you? What would be the best way?
Yes. Probably email info@sirashley.com. So
In,
info@sirashley.com.
.com.
Yes.
Info at sirashley.com.
My website is sirashley.com.
Mm-hmm.
SIRASHLEY.com. And you can go to my YouTube channel as well. I believe some of the moderators have put it in, and just reach out to me. I got into real estate as an investor, and that's what I love doing. I still love helping people on a day-to-day basis. I saw one of my clients, Martin, on here. What's up, Martin? How you doing? We're actually closing on his new construction home, later this month or next month. But yeah, so I love the investment side, but I'm also a full-time realtor as well.
And he's a lawyer.
I do a little bit of everything. I
Yeah.
like learning. I like knowledge, and I like to implement what I learn. So
Man, you've got over 2 million views to your channel. Look at you, a rock
I'm
star.
trying to be like you one
Oh,
day. One day.
aim higher, buddy. Aim higher.
One day. One day. No, I talk about you on the regular. You don't know how much you and Eddie have had an impact on me. So I appreciate both of you, and just how gracious you are, and just down to earth you are. So no, I appreciate both of you.
Oh, well, I don't, there's nothing for me to be snobby about. But speaking of not being snobby, I can't be a terrible daughter and not show up to my parents' dinner on time because
That's
my
true.
mom's making her own birthday dinner. Go figure. I did bring a salad, and I did make the sauce for the crab cakes, everybody. So don't shun me in the comments section.
Yeah.
So I know that there's going to be some questions that come up after the stream is done. I will be looking at those questions afterwards. I'll be looking at them for the next day, and I'll be answering those, as well as Sir Ashley himself. You do know how to get a hold of him now, info@sirashley.com. And you can always go to his YouTube channel and make sure you're subscribed. Sir Ashley does have some fantastic videos, and I do watch him quite often. And he does live streams as well. So.
I'm getting back more. I'm going to get more regular with the live streams. It's been a crazy, while real estate has slowed down, it's been a crazy 2 months. Like, it hadn't slowed down here. So, but I'm going to get more consistent with the live streams. I appreciate it.
I've never been invited on your live stream.
I haven't. That's going to change.
I'm about to cry. You've never invited me on your live stream. Dude.
That is going to change.
All right, everybody. We're back to our regular scheduled time next week, which will be 3:30. We'll have another guest on. I'm trying to get Jason Walter to come on here, but he's got new babies, so it's kind of hard to get him on here. But
congratulations, Jason.
I appreciate you coming out here, Mr. Sir Ashley. And if you need to get a hold of me, you can always go to my website, KristinaSmallhorn.com. There is one pink button throughout the whole entire website. It does one thing and one thing only. It's fill out a referral form. That's it. If you're looking for a referral, you're going to hit that one. If you're looking for a collaboration, you're going to hit that button. That's it. That's all you can do. Fill it out the form. I made that website super simple for everybody because there's no reason to have extra buttons and silly things just to make me look fancy. It's dumb. Yeah. So anyways, I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Let's look forward to the fact that possibly interest rates might go down if you are looking for a home next year and you're looking for home prices to come down and interest rates come down. Maybe it'll be the end of the year next year. Let's see what happens. So I hope everybody has a fantastic week. We'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye. Oh, your candy. Make sure you're Keep your kids,
Yes, yes. Enjoy your Halloween. Enjoy your week. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Oh, enjoy your mom's birthday.
yes, it's gonna be fantastic, and he's got the spooky music going, like, we can't even dance to this.
Slow dance.
Yeah,
Uh,
how do you dance to this? I don't know, I guess this is seems like kinda like one of those things, like, yeah,
you gotta.
I don't know, like, it's like a waltzing, like a ghosty like your daughter to be a ghost for Halloween.
Yeah.